today's video, we're gonna hop into this museum over here, explore, look around, and talk about which social rules that you should keep that are important for you to not get destroyed in social interactions when you're meeting new people, and which rules you should break as soon as you get the chance to do it. All right, so let's start with the basics, shall we? Here's a basic rule that's gonna be important to follow. Eye contact. You wouldn't believe how often people are talking to each other and their eyes are just darting around like this or like that when they're talking to a new person. Even myself on camera right now, I have to focus on looking at the camera. It's a skill that has to be learned. And if you're not used to it, you will gradually lose people's attention. They'll gradually get distracted and just drift off. Because if you're not confident in whatever you're saying, why would they be confident in whatever you're saying? Next one, just squaring up. Literally just getting shoulder to shoulder, square up with somebody when you're talking to them. Because energy is a funny thing. If your energy and intention is focused in another direction, their energy and intention will also be focused in another direction. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna see them gradually start to lose interest. Sure, it feels comfortable for you in the beginning, the first maybe 15, 20 seconds, and it's great. But eventually you'll see it start to slowly die down. So what's another age-old rule you might have heard of when it comes to meeting new people? Well, one is gonna be, don't buy people drinks that you're meeting at the bar or when you're out. This is a very good rule, right? It makes sense in a lot of first glances at it because it says, essentially, you're giving somebody a gift that you don't know and trying to buy their attention for them to stay with you, right? To get to know you. And so it can be very often misconstrued and taken the wrong way. So generally we would say, do not buy drinks for people that you don't know. Hey, so generally we say, don't buy drinks for people that you don't know. However, every rule can be broken. If you have a connection with somebody, perhaps a deep connection, romantic, you've been talking to them for maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe you're dancing with them, in those situations, then yes, it would be good to buy somebody a drink so that you can have a social excuse for you to spend more time together. But just because you buy somebody a drink doesn't mean that they owe you something, doesn't mean that they owe you attention. I can remember many situations where I've been out, even on a date with somebody, hanging out with them, and they're there on their cell phone the whole time, and we're supposed to be spending time together, and they don't care. If somebody is disrespecting you by not giving you their attention when you're in a committed situation for attention, then absolutely you should not buy them a drink. All right, here's something else you want to be very cautious of, and that is asking interview-style questions. Who are you here with? What's your name? How many brothers and sisters do you have? Where did you go to school? What's your favorite food? All these questions are very typical when people are meeting each other because they're nervous, but they're the worst questions to ask. It shows low investment. On top of that, and low interest, on the top of that, if you ask a boring question like this, you're probably gonna do what most people do, which is repeat a boring answer. So, do you like cats? And they're gonna say, yeah, cats are awesome. They're gonna say, so what do you like about cats? And you're like, well, cats are awesome. You're just gonna end up repeating the first word they say because you're actually not paying attention. You're just trying to literally just grasp for straws and make up stupid questions, right? So avoid asking interview questions at all costs. The reason why this doesn't work is because you're not acting through the power of intention. Say it with me, the power of intention. Sounds magnificent, doesn't it? The power of intention is when you actually act through what you want to do and what you want to say and what you want to talk about. Now, the more you use this power of intention, the better your social skills will be, and the more that the other person will respect you for using that power of intention. It's absolutely incredible. So here's something you can do, all right? I'm gonna give you a tip. You might have heard this before. I call this a statement of kingdom. And a statement of kingdom is when you say, I am the type of guy or I'm the type of woman who ... about a subject. I'm not the type of woman or guy ... about a subject. So for example here, we're in a rose garden here. I'm the type of guy that appreciates greenery and roses and nature. I'm not the type of guy to be obsessed with it and have to go hiking in the cold wilderness, right? I'm the type of guy that enjoys museums and beautiful scenery. I'm not the type of guy to act all snobby and uptight and pretend that I'm sophisticated of sorts because I'm in a museum, you see? So you can do this about any subject. It's like you're telling about yourself, you're giving a little bit of a story, the person gets to know you better, and it's much more effective than just asking boring interview style. I used to have a friend of mine, his name was Alex Treasure, and this guy used to have a great rule. He said, the rules exist so that you know when to break them. And that is true for any social rule. It exists so you know when to break it. And I would say generally that's true. 90% of the time, you should keep it. And 10% of the time, you should break the social rule. That's not very often. These rules are in place for a reason. They will help you So if you are a beginner, you're a newbie, you just started going out, you don't know about meeting people, you're not good socially, you don't have a lot of experience, I'd recommend you just keep all the rules. Keep them. Because eventually, you'll get enough repetitions and experience to be able to say, all right, you know what? This is a situation where I've been before. I've tried this many times. I know the limits of the situation. Let me push the boundaries a little bit, and let me see exactly how far I can go in the social interactions and breaking the rules. For example, very often on something called a boot camp program, it's where I take people live out to bars, lounges, nightclubs, and very often my students will be trying to talk to somebody, meet them, and they'll not plant their feet, they'll not speak loud, and somebody will just walk past them, and they'll be like, what happened? I don't know why it didn't work. And I'll say, what are the basics? Did you do the basics? I mean, just imagine it. You go out and you pretend to be kind of a nerd, you shrug your shoulders, make a nerdy voice, you put on glasses, maybe you put some pens in your pockets, a little bit of bifocals, and because you're so much exaggerating the bad rules of social interactions, it actually works because you obviously don't give a F and you don't care. There's something very freeing about that. So that's a situation where my students will very often break the rules because I tell them to push the boundaries, and it goes very, very well for them. And it can for you too, if you have the experience of when you're able to do it. Okay, so friends, I want to encourage you and implore you to continue working on the fundamentals. Very often when somebody comes on a live program with me, which is called a boot camp, it's usually divided into three things. 33% is their fundamentals are bad, 33% is their inner game is bad, their inner working is bad, and 33% it is something they have no idea about, they've never learned before. Regarding the fundamentals, it's very often something very simple, like perhaps the guy always leans in when he talks and he doesn't even notice it, and he needs me to point it out to him. Or perhaps it's something like, their voice tone is too low. They're raised in a very strict society. Perhaps they're Asian or they're German, and they think talking at an appropriate level in their head means that somebody else is going to be able to hear them projecting in a bar, a lounge, or a nightclub, which is very often not the case, right? So I encourage you to master the fundamentals. It's much like a basketball player. You might have heard of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant going to the gym, doing free throws and jump shots and really, really simple things, just constantly practicing the fundamentals. You might have heard stories of when Jordan lost one championship, he told the guys, all right, practice tomorrow. And nobody believed him. He lost the championship and went to the gym and did practice the very next day, right? Jump shots, dribbling, et cetera, et cetera. Because if you have a mastery of the fundamentals, that means you're gonna have a mastery when you need to execute at your highest level. And usually when you're at your maximum ability, your fundamentals turn to garbage and just break down and you can't do the basics anymore. So that's why you want to continually practice and master those fundamentals. It will only lead to your improvement overall. And if you want help doing that, I highly recommend you come join me on a boot camp. You want to have success